today we're back here in my 2007 Nissan 350z HR. It is such an amazing day today. I had to go out for a cruise. We're in the Temecula wine country right now, and I mean, there's not a cloud in the sky. We're in the HR. It's just a good morning. It's just a good morning. And the downshifts in this thing are nuts. Go this way. I mean, it's just, it's explosive. Literally explosive. So you've probably noticed in just the few minutes we've been driving, I have no gas at all, and the check engine light is on. Don't be fooled, we have gas, and the check engine light is for a simple O2 sensor, so it's not something to be totally worried about. There are so many different reasons a car can throw a check engine light. Some of them are really bad, and if your check engine light is flashing at you, it usually means like you gotta go right now to get it checked out. This is not too bad of a check engine light. I mean, any type of check engine light's not good. The car is not running at its optimal potential, but the beauty of it is that the car runs, I mean, I'd say 95% of its potential, so it rocks. Oh man. Jeez, this thing just feels so good. So as you saw from the title of today's video, we're gonna be talking about 3 absolute must-do mods for your Nissan 350z. Like these are mods that if you own a 350z, you have to do these mods. It's gonna make the driving experience that much better. There are so many people in this town, man. Anyways, the very first thing you need to do as soon as you get your 350z, or I mean tomorrow if you own a 350z already, is you gotta get an exhaust kit. Like, it's pretty common, it's pretty obvious, and a lot of people think like 350zs sound like trumpets if you do the wrong exhaust kit. And honestly, it can be kind of hard to find the right one. In my opinion, what I've noticed over time is, I mean, the best exhaust is the one you can afford. And a lot of people would argue with that and say like, you know, the one you can afford is probably not the best sounding exhaust. And it's so true. It's definitely, some of the cheaper exhausts they just don't sound very good. Like a glass pack or something. So you want to look for an exhaust that has a good tone to it. This HR actually came with a Megan Racing exhaust on it, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't know if I would have picked this Megan Racing exhaust just from the YouTube videos. When the exhaust is on the car, I mean, here's with the windows up. Here, I mean, it sounds good. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if YouTube would have conveyed that to me, but it's a good sounding exhaust. And the downshifts are legendary. I gotta pick up something from my house real quick. 1 second. Boom. Dang, man. Look at these things. Jeez. This thing is just so crazy. I absolutely love this car. This one will look like this someday. Not the same color, but we're getting there. I mean, these headlights came out so good. If you haven't seen my last video, totally polished these headlights, brought them back to, I mean, factory quality, which is so cool. I mean, they just turned out insane. They're blinding me, actually. Cool. All right, let's go. Red 350Z. Goodbye, Mr. Red. I'll see you soon. The backfires in this thing are nuts. If we took the cat and the resonator off, it would sound even crazier. Listen. Oh. Oh, so cool. Oh yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I think we had a good one-wheel peel right there. Definitely need to weld the diff or something. Get an LSD. The guy right next door to TSM Collision where I work, their shop is called Final Speed Garage, and Cyrus over there, he is like the drift guy. Like, he's got 3 drift cars. He has this beautiful FD RX-7. I'll have to show you guys if it's outside next time I go, but I need to have him put like a mechanical diff or like a 2-way like clutch type or something in here, because this car's asking to be drifted, I feel like. The red car is like my baby, and then this car, I don't know, it's a 350Z, you know? I'm not gonna lie, I still treat this thing pretty good, but every now and then. Okay, so number 2 on the list of 3 things that you need to do to your 350Z if you own one, or if you're going to own one, this is what you need to do first or second after the exhaust. So the second thing is gonna be tires. So when you buy a used 350Z, because you can't buy them new anymore, the tires are always in question. You don't know who put the tires on last, how long they've been on the car. car, or if they even match. And I wouldn't say matching tires necessarily are important, but I would say like the same grade tires, if that makes sense. So you don't want like one side to be cheap and then the other side to be an expensive tire. What a lot of people will do is they'll like pop one tire, or one tire will go and they'll just replace that one tire. And then you have two tires, they're wearing at different speeds. And this creates like a false sense of traction on one side of the car. So you feel like you have a lot of traction when it's only just on one side, because the tire has way more grip on that side. So quality tires are a must, because these things are pretty powerful. And if you do not have quality tires on the back, at least, it could bite you for sure. You see this situation? Jeez. I wish you could see the smile on my face when I do that. Oh man. So like I was saying, tires are a must. You can tell what year the tires were made on the sidewall of the tire. Definitely when you're going to buy a 350Z, or if you have one right now and you haven't changed the tires yet, go look for the sidewall date. It's different on a lot of tires, but you could probably Google it and find out what year the tires were made. Even tires that have a solid amount of life on them can be pretty old and start to dry rot over time. So they get hard, and then as the rubber gets harder and harder, I mean, the grip is gonna get less and less, and they basically turn into hockey pucks. So, and I know it's not really a mod, but I would say that tires are a modification, because it's up to you to decide what tires you get. And so I would say, you know, anything that you're deciding personally that's not decided from the factory is a modification. So you wanna put quality tires on your car, and I mean, we learned the hard way. I don't know if you guys remember, but about 1.5 years ago, I crashed my red 350Z into a guardrail while canyoning this really windy road, and it was all because the tires just were not what they should have been, to be honest with you. Like, I've always been the kind of guy to just look for the cheapest tires possible, and ever since I had that accident, I never really had an accident like that. I just look for some solid tires now, because it's the only thing that keeps you connected to the road. Like, if it's not for the tires, like your gas pedal and your brakes and even your e-brake, like none of it matters if your tires aren't gripping the ground, you know what I mean? So tires are super important. So number 1 was exhaust, number 2 is the tires, and then number 3, you don't necessarily need this, just because 350Zs come from the factory are actually pretty good to begin with, but upgrading the suspension can make a night and day difference on your 350Z. One thing I noticed is that this car has BC Racing coilovers on it, and my other car has lowering springs, and lowering springs are a lot cheaper of an option than coilovers. The lowering springs ride way, way, way harder or rougher than these BC Racing coilovers do. And the BC Racing coilovers have a lot more adjustment, so I can actually change the ride height with a little tool. A little bouncy. Oh my goodness. That's one thing about the coilovers, or when you lower the car, the rebound for the wheels, it's not very quick. So if there's a little tiny bump in the road, the car kind of bounces a little bit and you lose traction. And that's one thing that kind of stinks about not having OEM suspension. Like, OEM suspension's really good about just staying planted, even if the ground is kind of wavy. And not only does the ride quality and the handling change, but I feel like it makes the car look so much better. There's something about a 350Z that's dropped maybe like 1.5 inches, and it just sits perfectly above the tires and the wheels. Like, they just sit so well when done correctly. So I feel like it's such an awesome modification to do as far as cosmetically, performance-wise, and just overall ride quality. A lot of people say that coilovers don't ride very well, and I mean, these BC Racing coilovers ride way better than my lowering springs in my red car, so I have no complaints there. I'm gonna flip it right here, because it's a dirt road right there. Mailman. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I know it wasn't super long, but I had to get on here and just talk to you guys about my 3 must-do mods for a 350Z as soon as you get the car, or if you have one and you haven't done any mods yet. These are mods that I would highly recommend. I would consider these mods OEM plus, to where it's not super, you're not really changing the car and the way it looks and ricing it out. I mean, sometimes some exhausts can sound kind of ricey, but for the most part, if you get a fairly reputable exhaust, they do sound pretty good. Especially, I feel like the exhaust sounds better once the car is warm. When the car is cold, I feel like no exhausts sound very good. So, but anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Hit the thumbs up button if you did. Drop a subscribe down below if you haven't yet already. Join the family. I just made it over here to work. We gotta work in the barrel room. I'm gonna pump some wine over, which is pretty cool. But anyways, hit the subscribe button like I said. Thank you so much once again for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video. Peace out.